Well, I got a new hatch in from Chuck down at Duckworks today. It's the Sea Dog's new polypropylene, I believe, hatch. It's a little different than the ones they've been having. It's a little less expensive and seems to work fine. This one's the screw-in hatch. Normally I use twist-in hatches. But I also had this as a sample from DP. With their hatch, on the front. Here we go. Here has this little lever you flip up, and then you twist this round, and it turns the thing out of the way. On the bottom of it has got this lip right here that goes into anywhere, and then you got to push it in, and then turn the back, and it locks it in place. Now, when you feel it. And put your fingers in on the hatch here either side, you can see it flexing. And I turned it upside down and filled it up with water, up to the rim here. And it's a matter of seconds and the water all drained out. So it's something that's easy access to get to if you're trying, inside where you don't need something that's airtight, but maybe splash proof. So I think they'd had a good idea if they would have had two of these little flip things, one on either side to go with the lip they have on the bottom, and then I don't think it could have moved around, and then they'd had slick idea, but it does come off. So if you got some interior spot that doesn't need to be watertight, then this would be a good one. This little propylene one, yeah, I think it's going to work. Well, we're going to start off this episode. We're going to paint the inside. I just finished vacuuming my little brush, and kind of when you're vacuuming along, run your hand close to the nozzle, and you'll see if you feel anything loose. I mean, your hand's pretty sensitive, and you'll pick up whatever's there. So I'm happy with it now. I'm going ahead and clean it. When I'm done cleaning, I'm going to go ahead and mix up the primer and got my 2-inch foam brush, which I find these foam brushes, because of the hard edge and the V on them, it's easy to to dip the tip and come up underneath the rails and stroke down. Just kind of like get up close, touch, and then pull down. And then you can get the roller for everything else. So. And I want to thank you. Last week, I think it was last Wednesday, went over the 900,000 mark on viewers. So I want to thank you. I don't know what I'm going to do for the million, which I think might be sometime this late summer, early fall. Maybe sooner, who knows. Depends on how active you get watching these things. So the million mark's coming up, and I've got to think of something to do. Maybe I'll work out something with Chuck down in Duckworks, and we can do something with the plans. So let me set up and get the paint ready to go. So yeah, I got the paint all stirred up, and the first thing we're going to do is get up underneath here. That may not work. Make sure you got a cloth and some water to clean the mess up. So a nice varnish job. Okay. Well, this looks like it's back to the this thing would do the job right, but it's too thick. I needed to probably have gotten a smaller one, but this little guy gets up in here. I'm just trying to edge out right now. And when you come across where the gap is here, try to pull the brush along in one smooth stroke. There. Well, I've got everything cut in with the little guy, and I've switched back over to the foam brush because I find that it works the best for coming up to the line with a lot of paint and then just a downward flick, especially in these areas where the gaps are for the spacer block gaps. These guys. And then once I get that all the way around, then I will switch over to the roller. Well, we got the cuts in, so now we're going to start doing everything else. Watch your splatters. Right now we're just trying to go for coverage. Get an etching into the wood. Probably do 2 primers. Watch your hands and keep, look at them to see if you got any fresh paint, especially the hand that's not painting, it's bracing yourself, as you'll leave little fingerprints all over the place. I could roll this out, but I think I'm going to brush this on. Well, we've got it all painted. First coat of a primer. And go around, I really stress this, go around and look for any places that you may have touched. I was looking at my glove and I was, oh, there's gray on it. Ah! So then I had to, but it was dry, so I had to go around again. And I didn't find anything, so like I was saying, make certain that you got all of the stuff and all the little fingerprints underneath, under the rails here. Everything looks good, so I'm happy. I've also got the, I don't know if you've noticed or not, I installed the screws yesterday. There's no big thing on that, they just, bzz, bzz, bzz. And then I got the oar lock sockets installed too, so they're all ready. So it seems, when you look at this thing, you think, oh, we're getting close to done. No, once I get the inside painted, and then I'm going to put the seat plate on and the little Scotty bracket on the bow, and then we flip it over and work on the bottom. We still have the outside seams to shape, fill, sand, tape, and then the bottom cloth to put on, and then the edges to fill it or to fair in on those things. So we still got, it's probably going to be at least another 6 or 7, maybe 8 videos. So we'll come back when this dries and I put another coat on. Well, I've got 2 coats of primer on it, and it was all brushed on, but boy, that Ultra Cover Rust-Oleum is really smooth. It goes on. No stroke marks at all. So let me go out and get the interior paint. It's a light gray I had specially mixed up. I just took some white and add some tint to it. So we'll see what it looks like after the first coat. This is going on pretty good. I think I'll be able to just put it on using the brush. See how it dries on this first coat. Seems like if you, the old Davis and Boson chief said, you put it on and then you take it off. And I'll do a little bit more. Put it on, take it off. These thick paints, like when I was in the service, it was back in the 60s, it was all all enamels, oil-based. Every stroke was about 20 pounds of pull, seemed like. Again, in the coaster, we had this love for white for some reason. And I had my little paint person put the see, it was a little bit of black and a little bit of yellow to give this color of gray. It's actually a gray. If I had something white against it, you would see the difference. And it's going to be a flat finish, so there won't be any shine to it once it dries. And then finish up with good long strokes, and there's enough surface tension with this paint that it just flattens it right out. Just light strokes. Almost like you're doing a tipping with the LPU we're going to do when I put this thing over to the bottom. Well, yesterday I finished putting on the second coat of the Ultra Coat primer, or paint. And I have to say this Rust-Oleum Ultra cover. I got the flat white, and I had my friend Sarah at my local do-it center add some gray to it. There's a little bit of black and yellow, and so it gave me this nice gray color. It's a flat paint, so it's not glaring, so you can be out in the sun. And it went on, and I think I mentioned in one, either a crawler or something, that I was reading the can, and it's basically brush on, and it's brush on, and it's stiff, so you got to work at it. But it went on smooth, and I really don't see any brush strokes. It had a good surface adhesion, and so as it dried, it just kind of like stretched out flat. And so I'm happy. So now we're going to put on the plate, put on the deck hatch, and the little Scotty plate in the front, and then we're going to flip it, and that should be the end of this one. So let me go ahead and get some ATV out. I'm going to put a little blob around here because it's got some flat spots on the bottom here, just to keep a little bit of water out of it, and then I'll do a bead around the hatch and then screw that in, and we'll come back. Go put just a little bead around the hole here. And set this, you should get square down here. I'll go ahead and tighten these up off camera. I just put some layers of sealant around the hatch, and stick that in. Tool. these things, kind of work them around like you would a head gasket. They tend to set flatter. I'll get my hand screwdriver and set those by hand. Got her in place. Yeah. I don't know why they don't make these things a little deeper, especially as you get older. Do the same thing here too, but just a little bit of sealant. I need to get my extension out. We'll come back. We have the little Scotties in and act as a handle. So now, make some rope and we'll flip this thing over. Well, we'll let the little Scotty do its thing. There's all the schmutz underneath. And then just grab it. And let it down. There. Now I'll put some pads underneath the ends so I don't scuff up our pretty rails. And this will end painting the inside. Now we're going to start working on the bottom, which will entail smoothing up all these seams, filling in the gap through here, and then rounding it over, putting the glass tape on. I'll just go 3-inch and then the glass cloth, and when we put down the 3-inch, then we'll fair the edges, and then the glass cloth goes on, and then I'll put on the 2 bottom stiffening strips along the bottom. So we'll get to that when we get there. So if they don't find you handy, see you next time.